Hello everyone, this is Dr.Syamala Devi from the Department of MBA IB, Acharya Nagarjuna University. Coming to today's topic, we are going to deal with Consumer Protection Act 1986. Okay, so what is meant by Consumer Protection Act? What is the concept it? What are the legal aspects under Consumer Protection Act? And what are the councils that were to protect the consumer in this Consumer Protection Act? All aspects are going to be studied here. Okay, so what does the Consumer Protection Act basically, what does it means consumer protection means protecting the consumer. So protecting the consumer means in what aspect we are going to protect the consumer? Means protecting the consumer from unfair or else restrictive trade practices. Okay, protecting a consumer from unfair and restrictive trade practices which are done by the business organizations to market their product. Okay, to increase their marketability. Okay, they will do to increase their profits. They will deceive the consumers by doing unfair practices, restrictive practices which are against to the legality of the constitution. Okay, so this is the meaning of Consumer Protection Act. And this Consumer Protection Act is passed by the two houses of parliament known as Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, both houses, in the year 1986, and assented by the President of India on 24th December 1986. Okay, and was published in the Gazette of India on 26th December 1986, but it came into force from 1st July 1987. But the bill was passed in both houses of the parliament and assented by the president, okay, in the year 1986 of December. Okay, so this way this act came into existence. And if we want to say what is the concept of consumer protection means, the consumer protection, the objective of the main act is to provide better and all-round protection to consumers. Okay, all-round protection to the consumers and effective safeguards against different types of exploitation. Okay, so exploitation of the consumer, the law protects the consumer from the exploitation. So how consumer can be exploited means such as selling him defective goods, okay, or else providing him deficient services and unfair trade practices, or else the malpractices, okay, by the common business people. Okay, they will practice all these unfair trade practices or the malpractices. Okay, in this way consumer will be exploited. So it also makes, this act also makes provisions for simple, speedy and inexpensive machinery for redressal of consumers' grievances. There is a machinery for this to settle down the grievances of the consumers. Okay, at state level, at central level, at national level, there were commissions, okay, to settle down the disputes, consumer disputes, the consumer grievances. Okay, so it provides or else it safeguards the rights of the consumers. Okay, so if we want to say what are the malpractices or else what are the unfair trade practices means, for example, sales of adulterated goods. Okay, so that is a malpractice done by business people. So sales of adulterated goods means adding something inferior to the product to be sold. Okay, so in order to increase our sales, okay, we add something which is not good for the product, okay, which is inferior to the product. Likewise, sales of spurious goods, okay, it means that selling something of little value instead of the real product, okay, the genuine product, instead of selling the genuine product, the real product, okay, uh, the product which have a little value, okay, selling in that place, selling in that real value product, we are selling something of little value, that is known as spurious goods, okay. So that is also a malpractice done by the business people. And sale of substandard goods also, it also comes under the malpractice, like sales of goods which is not confirmed to prescribed quality standards, okay, even though they are not according to the standards, okay, they are selling the goods, okay. So sale of substandard goods are also a malpractice, comes under a malpractice. Likewise, sale of duplicate goods or else imitation goods, okay, those are also malpractices. And using of false weight and measures, okay, leading to underweight, okay, so it is also a malpractice. And hoarding and black marketing leading to scarcity of goods and rise in prices, this is also a malpractice, okay. Black marketing, even though they have the goods, they won't supply, okay, so this creates scarcity of goods and this results in increase in prices of those goods, okay. Likewise, charging more than the maximum retail price MRP, okay, for the fixed product, so it is also a malpractice. And supply of defective goods, okay, and misleading advertisements, okay, advertising falsely claiming a product or service to be of superior quality, okay, even though it is not up to mark, even though it is not to the prescribed quality standard, okay, but they are giving the advertisements, misleading advertisements, falsely claiming the product as a superior quality. Likewise, inferior services, okay, supply of inferior services, quality of services lower than the quality of agreed upon, okay. So all these comes under the malpractices that are doing by the business people, okay. So in order to protect from all these malpractices, Consumer Protection Act came into existence. So what would be the features of Consumer Protection Act means? It applies to all goods and services, okay, and unfair trade practices unless specifically exempted by the central government, okay. This act applies to goods as well as services and also unfair trade practices. This is very important because the law is meant for to safeguard the consumer, so unfair trade practices also included here. So this Consumer Protection Act applies to all goods, services and unfair trade practices unless specifically exempted by the central government, okay. If at all in any case, if the customer went for redressal cell means, okay, council means, if at all that particular product is exempted by the central government means, in such cases the law may not be applicable, but in all aspects maximum this law is applicable to all the goods and services and unfair trade practices. And also it covers all sectors, whether private, public or cooperative, okay. Likewise, it provides for establishment of consumer protection councils, okay. As I said before, whenever if there is any consumer grievances means, okay, they can approach to this consumer protection councils, okay. those councils will be at central, state, and district levels to promote and protect the rights of consumers. Okay, there are certain six rights there were according to the Consumer Protection Act. Okay, so they can avail their rights through these councils. Okay, these councils protect the consumer. Okay, to promote and protect their rights. And a three-tier system, judicial machinery is there to deal with consumer grievances and disputes. Okay, councils were there for to protect their rights and to promote their rights, and judicial machinery is there to settle down the consumer disputes and grievances. Okay, likewise it provides statutory recognition to the 6 rights of consumer. Okay, so we'll deal in the next part what are the rights of the consumer. But as of now, what would be the features of a consumer protection means all these comes under the features of the protection, Consumer Protection Act. Okay, so if we see what are the objectives of the act. So first one is to provide for better protection of the interest of the consumers. This is the basic objective of the Consumer Protection Act, protecting the interest of consumers, protecting the rights of consumers. Okay, next one, to provide for the establishment of consumer councils and authorities. As I said before, we have councils. Okay, consumer protection councils at district level, state level, central level. Okay, likewise authorities also, judicial machinery is also there to settle down the consumer grievances and consumer disputes. Okay, so all these why they occur means from these unfair trade practices. Okay, likewise to empower the consumer councils and other authorities to settle consumer disputes and matters connected therewith. Okay, third objective is to empower those councils and authorities. Okay, we are having councils and authorities to protect these consumers. Okay, and for that third objective is empowering these councils and authorities. Why? Because to settle down the disputes of the consumers. Okay, and the related matters connected with those aspects. So the act extends to the whole of India except to Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so the applicability of this Consumer Protection Act is to all over India except Jammu and Kashmir. So if we see the definition who is a consumer means, okay, we can see this consumer in two aspects. Okay, consumer can be defined separately in terms of goods, okay, and in terms of services. So in terms of goods means consumer means one who buy any goods for consideration. Okay, consideration is nothing but the payment of money or the same worth for the product. Okay, so consideration, and any user of such goods other than the person who actually buys it, provided such use is made with the approval of buyer. He is also considered as a buyer. Okay, any user of such goods. So the person who buys the goods and the other person who uses the goods with the consent or with the approval of buyer. Okay, so for example, a father purchases apple, okay, and he give it to his son means, okay, that apple is a defective product. Okay, so they can go against the seller. Okay, so here the boy can go against the seller and the father can go against the seller. Why? Because here, as we said in the definition, one who buy any good for consideration is considered as a consumer, and also any user of such good other than the person who actually buys buy with his prior approval of the buyer. Okay, so provided, so both are considered as a buyer, as a consumer. Okay, likewise if we see in the purpose of services, one who hires any service for consideration. Okay, so consideration is nothing but the payment that we have made for that service. Okay, and any beneficiary of such services, provided the service is availed with the approval of such person. Okay, the same as I said before in this case of goods, the same applies here also in services. But goods is related to the defective goods. Okay, but if we see in services, services is related to the deficiency. Okay, goods means it is related to the defective. Okay, defective goods. Okay, but if we see here, service is related to deficiency. Okay, deficiency is related to the service. Okay, so consumer means the person who buys the goods for consideration, and the person provided that if he made approval for another person also. The same applies here also, who hires services. Okay, for consideration, and provided that the service is availed with approval of such person by another person. Okay, so this is about the definition of the consumer. Okay, according to section 2(1)(d). Okay, and if we see the rights of consumers, so what are the rights of consumers? If we see, according to John F. Kennedy, the former USA president, he had given 6 rights to consumers through the Consumer Protection Act 1986. Okay, so what are those 6 rights? Right to informed, right to choose, right to safety, right to heard, right to seek redressal, right to consumers education. Okay, so all these comes under the 6 rights. Okay, so first one is right to informed. So this is an act to give for setting out the practical management of rights to information for citizens to acquire the data under control of public jurisdictions in order to develop clarity and responsibility in the working of every public authority, and the organization of a Central Information Commission and State Information Commission. Okay, so right to get means the consumer has been granted the right to be informed about the quality, quantity, potency, purity, standard, and price of goods or services, as the case may be. Okay, and with a view to protecting the interest of the consumer against any type of unfair trade practices. Okay, for that purpose, consumer is granted with the right to be informed, means full details about the product, quality, quantity, potency, purity. Okay, likewise. And if we see the second aspect, right to choose. Okay, so right to choose, what does right to choose means? The meaning of right to choose as per the Consumer Protection Act is the right to be assured, okay, wherever possible, to have access to a variety of goods and services at competitive prices. Okay, means the consumer has the right to choose, means assurance, wherever possible, the access to variety of goods and services. In case of monopolies like railways and so on, it means the right to be assured of satisfactory quality and services at a fair price. Okay, so that is about right to choose, means ensuring the consumer. Okay, so the third aspect is right to safety. So right to safety means consumers has the right to be protected against products and services which are hazardous to health, life and property. Okay, so it is every person's right to safety. Okay, so they should be protected against the products. So hazardous products should not be sold to the consumers which affect the health, life and property of the consumers. So another one is right to heard. Okay, so right to heard means this right says that the complaints of customers should be understood by the seller. Okay, and it also allows them to be heard before the sessions and consumer panels. Right to be heard is one of the rights granted to consumers by the Consumer Protection Act. Okay, so their grievances, okay, everything can be put before the panels, consumer panels and the sessions also. Okay, as I said before, we have authorities and councils. The consumer can go there and he can express his grievances there. Okay, so that is about the right to heard. Okay, means the right will be represented in different forums formed for the consideration of the welfare of the consumers. And coming to right to seek redressal. Okay, so right to seek redressal means right to seek redressal against illegal trade systems or unfair exploitation of consumers. It involves the right to a reasonable settlement of legitimate complaints of the consumers. Okay, means a fair settlement of the genuine grievances of consumers can be settled in the redressal cells. Okay, that is the right pertains to the right of the consumer to seek redressals against unfair practices done by the business people. And another one is right to consumers education. Okay, so consumers education is also important. Okay, so the right confers the right to consumers to acquire knowledge and skill to become an informed customer. Okay, so ignorance of consumers, especially of rural consumers, means they will affect more. Okay, more loss can be seen by them. So every consumer, they have to know about, they have to obtain the knowledge, okay, and skills to be acquainted throughout the life. Okay, why? Because always he will purchases anything. Okay, so a knowledge regarding those products, rights regarding the customers, each and everything should be known by the consumer. Okay, therefore consumer knowledge, consumer skills are very, very important. So right to consumer education is another important right in one of the 6 rights which are given by John F. Kennedy. And if we see responsibility of consumers, so not only there are rights for consumers but also the responsibilities. Okay, so it is the responsibility of the consumer to be quality conscious. First thing is, he should be very much quality conscious. He should know about the product's quality. Okay, whenever he is going to purchase a product, means he has to keenly observe the quality of the product and then he has to purchase, or else it may lead to him a loss. Okay, so therefore he should be quality conscious. And another responsibility on consumer is be aware of misleading advertisements, false advertisements. Okay, so the advertisements given by the organizations, they may mislead, they may give false representations regarding their product in order to increase their sales. Okay, they may supply inferior goods or else defective goods to the customer. But in advertisements they may give advertisement that they are giving superior product. Okay, so you have to be aware of misleading those advertisements. And another responsibility is to inspect a variety of goods before making a selection. So if at all, if we are going to purchase any product, means definitely before that we have to see what are the different type of products, variety of products that were available in the market. Okay, we have to see the price, we have to see the quality, we have to see the durability. Okay, the effect of the product, each and everything should be observed by the consumer. Okay, so it is the responsibility of the consumer to inspect variety of goods in the market, and then he has to make a selection before purchasing a product. Then collecting proof of transaction. So collect a proof of transaction means after purchasing of a product, regarding that product he should have a receipt regarding the purchase of that product. So proof of transaction should be there. If at all there is any conspiracy regarding the product, okay, so the consumer can go for the councils or authorities by showing this proof of transaction. So collecting proof of transaction is important responsibility of a consumer, and must be aware of consumer rights. This is also important. So he is having these rights, no? So he should be aware of all these rights. If at all there is any defective product to him, to the consumer, or else any loss availed, any loss has occurred to the consumer regarding the purchase of the product, anything. Okay, first of all he should be aware of all these rights, then only he can go for the councils and authorities. He should have the full knowledge regarding the rights and responsibilities of the Consumer Protection Act. Okay, so now if we want to see the definitions regarding the consumer, the defect, the deficiency, who is manufacturer, and trade practices. Okay, so what are the definitions given by the act? Okay, means if we see first one, defect. So what does defect means? What section conveys the legality to that, or else the definition to this act means, to this concept defect means. So according to section 2 subsection 1f, defect means any fault, imperfection or shortcoming in the quality, quantity, potency, purity or standard which is required to be maintained by or under any law for the time being in the force. Okay, under any contract, express or implied, oral or written, or as is claimed by the trader in any manner whatsoever in relation to any goods. Okay, so defect, if we want to say in one word what is a defect means, defect means fault. Okay, fault or imperfection. Okay, it is not up to the mark, the standard, the standards, it is not up to the determined standards, up to the determined quality, or else the quantity is not that much, okay, to the prescribed manner, or else the potency, or else the purity of the product, okay, or else any a fault in the product. Okay, those are known as the defective items. Imperfection products, quality is not up to the mark, so all these comes under the defect. Okay, according to the section 2 subsection 1f. So these may be treated as the defective goods. Okay, either they are in written form or else in oral form, or else implied means if at all those products satisfy all these things, means it is impliedly, even though there is no contract or else contract, either they are written or not, or oral. Okay, or else doesn't have anything, it is implied according to the act also. Okay, so that is known as a defect. Okay, defect means any fault, imperfection, shortcoming in the quality, quantity, potency, purity or standard of the product. Okay, and if we see deficiency, so what does deficiency means? So deficiency is defined according to the section 2 subsection 1G. Okay, so what is deficiency? So as I said before, defect means it is related to the goods. Okay, defect is pertaining to goods and deficiency is pertaining to services. Okay, so deficiency means any fault, imperfection, shortcoming or inadequacy in the quality, nature and manner of performance. Service means performance. Okay, so which is required to be maintained by or under any law. It should be according to the law, maintained according to the law. It should be according to the requirement of the law or has been undertaken to be performed by a person in pursuance of a contract or otherwise in relation to any service can be considered as a deficiency. Okay, which is not up to mark according to the law. Okay, and deficiency of services, deficiency is relating to the services should be in a, they should not be fault, imperfect. Okay, inadequacy in the quality should not be there, and at the same time the performance should be the nature and the performance is required to be maintained according to the law. Okay, so this means deficiency. So under deficiency, okay, for example, non-delivery of any article by the courier which causes some serious hardships and inconvenience to the consignee or the addressee, the person who have purchased. Okay, is a case of negligence in performance and deficiency of service by the courier concerned. Okay, so how can we say deficiency means? So negligence in performance can be considered as deficiency of service. Okay, so non-delivery of any article by the courier service. Okay, so they have performed their negligence in delivering the article. Okay, so for the, in that case maybe the addressee, okay, he or she may lost. So it comes under this deficiency comes under the case of negligence and negligence in performance and deficiency of service by the courier concerned to that particular courier office. Okay, for this there is a case study, that is Skypack Couriers Private Limited versus CERS and others in the year 1992. Okay, what happened in this means a compensation of ₹1,000 was awarded to the complainant for non-delivery of a packet, okay, containing the passport, visa and air tickets and so on to the complainant. Okay, so the compensation of ₹1,000 was awarded to the addressee person. Okay, so he was awarded ₹1,000. Why? Because the courier company, okay, they have negligence of in performance. Okay, negligence in performance and deficiency of services lead to the judgment that they have to pay the compensation of ₹1,000 to the complainant. Okay, why? Because in that the service they have to deliver to that person. Okay, what are in that packet means containing the passport, containing the visa, containing the air tickets, means definitely they incur huge loss to that particular person. Okay, so definitely the complainant is awarded with ₹1,000. Okay, from that Skypack Couriers Private Limited Services. Okay, so likewise, in settlement of a claim by a life insurance company after undue delay. Okay, this is also another case regarding the deficiency of services. Okay, so negligence in performance of services by life insurance company. For this also we have case study, Naina Devi Bairalia versus LIC of India. Okay, so they have not settled the amount to that particular person. Okay, after death of his husband, her husband. Okay, the LIC company, they have not returned the amount to this person. Okay, due by saying that undue delay of filing of a claim. Okay, and they performed negligence of services. Okay, in this case what happened means, after the death of her husband after a sudden illness, when the second premium on policy of 50,000 had fallen due, this claim has not settled for long as 14 years. Okay, and the National Commission had held that LICI had been highly negligent in performance of its service and had awarded payment of interest at the rate of 12% per annum with effect from the expiry of 3 months of the death of the assured up to the date of the payment of the check. Okay, and additionally an order was passed by the National Commission, okay, directing this LICA to pay her a compensation of 15,000 on account of her mental torture, loss and harassment also. Okay, so here non-delivery of an article. Okay, and here non-payment of a demand draft on invalid grounds by saying, okay, so sorry, non-delivery of any article by the courier, likewise settlement of a claim by a life insurance company saying that undue delay of filing the claims. Okay, they have prolonged the case till 14 years. Okay, after 14 years only the National Commission have held that LIC is highly negligent in performance of its service, and they have to pay the amount to that particular person at 12% per annum, interest payment of interest at the rate of 12% per annum. Okay, and also compensation of 15,000 on account of her mental torture, loss and harassment. Okay, so likewise non-payment of a demand draft on invalid grounds. Okay, so invalid grounds also, if at all the company has not performed its services means, so here in this case also they are liable. Okay, so if we see here, change of names of joint payee into a single payee on a term deposit receipt. Okay, we will say it as a TDR, means term deposit receipt account, at the request of only one of the joint payees, and so on, will be considered to be the cases of deficiency in service on part of the bank concerned. Okay, means here means request should be on both joint payees. Okay, by having request from one joint payee only, if they are changing the accounts, okay, it is not valid. Okay, so for example, if we see in case for Satish Mehra versus Punjab and Sindh Bank, okay, in that case the State Commission had held that the conversion of a joint fixed deposit account into an individual account, okay, joint fixed deposit account into individual account of only one of the joint account holders, okay, without such request from both the joint account holders, tantamount to deficiency of services on the part of the bank. Okay, so deficiency of service here means, in this case, without request from both joint account holders. Okay, conversion of joint fixed deposit account they have done into individual account. So here what we see means deficiency of service on part of bank, because they have to, here both account holders, they have to ensure that they want to change it into one individual account. Okay, but it has not mentioned, it has not conveyed the message to the both of the account holders. Okay, so this is deficiency of service on the part of the bank. Okay, so likewise deficiency means performance of service. Okay, so if at all there is in performance of service, then it is entitled to deficiency. Okay, we may see in different cases like non-delivery of any article, settlement of claims, non-payment of demand drafts. Okay, likewise in different issues we can see the deficiency of services. So deficiency is related to the services and defect is related to the goods. And coming to manufacturer, who is a manufacturer? According to section 2 subsection 1J, manufacturer means a person who makes or manufactures any goods or parts thereof. Okay, not only the full product, the end product, but also part of a product also considered as a manufacturer. So a person who makes or manufactures any goods or part of a product, okay, he is considered as a manufacturer. And a person who does not make or manufacture any good, okay, a person who does not make or manufacture any goods but assembles, okay, but assembles parts thereof made or manufactured by others, but claims the end of the product, claims the end of the product to be the goods manufactured by him. Okay, so he is also considered as a manufacturer, even though he is not a manufacturer but assembles the part. Okay, he assembles the parts means he is also considered as a manufacturer. But here branch offices are not deemed to be the manufacturer. We have to remind this thing. Okay, what means in cases where manufacturer dispatches any goods or part of good thereof to any branch office maintained by him, such branch office shall not be deemed to be the manufacturer, even though the parts so dispatched to it or else to the branch office are assembled at such branch office and are sold or distributed from such branch office also. Branch office is not considered as a manufacturer. Okay, and now the third thing is a person who puts or causes to be put his own mark on any goods made or manufactured by any other manufacturer and claims such goods to be the goods made or manufactured by himself. Means if any other person who manufactured and those are marketed and he created a mark on those product, okay, then he is considered as a manufacturer. Okay, for example, Bata Shoe Company. Okay, if we take Bata Shoe Company, they get their goods manufactured by some other parties, okay, but put their own seal on the goods as if these were made or manufactured by the Bata Shoe Company. Okay, so likewise those persons are also who put cause or else who are the cause to put that product in the market and they have created their own mark. Okay, so those are considered as the manufacturers. So next, if we see unfair trade practices. So what are unfair trade practices? According to section 2 subsection 1 are unfair trade practices means a trade practice which for the purpose of promoting the sale, use or supply of any goods, okay, for promoting the sales, for supply of goods or any provisions on any services, adopts unfair method or deceptive practices which are not acceptable by the law. Okay, are includes, okay, all these includes means what are the unfair trade practices means, for example, misleading advertisements and false representations. Okay, so this is treated as unfair trade practices. So misleading advertisement and false representation means, for example, acupressure therapy health center manufacturing acupressure sandals. Okay, so they had claimed that with the use of sandals for walking for 8 minutes every day, morning and evening, before meals, wearing the sandals will improve the person's blood circulation and he will be healthy. Okay, so this is the statement that has given by the acupressure therapy health center. Okay, so but as there was no proven medical evidence regarding the aforementioned claim, the MRTP Commission, Monopolies Restrictive Trade Practices Commission, had held that the claim was false and misleading. Okay, accordingly, it had issued injunction restraining the company from issuing such advertisements as it contained misleading facts. Okay, so those are known as misleading advertisements. Okay, so because there is no proven medical evidence in that case, so it is considered as the misleading advertisement and false representations. So if we see in this one, claiming false affiliation or collaboration. Okay, so false affiliation or collaboration means even though those companies are not in collaboration with other companies, but in order to increase their brand value, to increase their sales, okay, to increase their profits, they may give statements of that they may claim that false affiliation or false collaboration. Okay, so it is considered as unfair trade practice. For example, in case of Kelvinator of India Limited and Expo Machinery Limited. Okay, Kelvinator and Expo. Kelvinator of India Limited and Expo Machinery Limited, they had claimed that the Avanti scooters manufactured by them were being produced in technical collaboration with Garelli of Italy. So they collaborated. So they given statement that they have in technical collaboration with Garelli company of Italy. Okay, they are in collaboration with this Italy company. But on enquiry, it was revealed that no such collaboration existed. The companies were therefore directed by the Commission to remove such misleading facts from all other future advertisements. Okay, so this is claiming of false affiliation and collaboration. So if we see the third aspect, non-fulfilling of warranty or guarantee and non-rendering of satisfactory after sale service and warranty claims. Okay, here what does this means it is related to unfair trade practice is related to the warranty and guarantee. Okay, so even though the company sell its product with warranty, but after sale service is not seen in that company. Okay, so for example, a person had purchased an electric typewriter machine from Logistic System Private Limited. Okay, so with a warranty of 1 year, but the machine had developed serious defects after one and a half month. Okay, after purchasing of one and a half month, it developed serious defects. Okay, so the company, however, did not respond to any of the several complaints lodged with it by the purchaser by repeatedly giving the complaints, even though the purchaser repeatedly complained. Okay, company never responded. Okay, on inquiry, it was found that the company was supplying defective machines to its customers or else the consumers and was not rendering satisfactory after sale service. Okay, either, but the machine had developed serious defects for 1.5 month for every person who have purchased that particular product. Okay, after purchasing of 1.5 month, it had developed serious defects. The machine has developed serious defects. Okay, so the machine was sold under the warranty of 1 year period, even though the repairs or replacements of the machine did not work efficiently. So the company was therefore found by the commission to have indulged in unfair trade practices. Okay, so likewise, if we uh, see in other aspects also, like as I said before, in selling of adulterated goods, it is also unfair trade practices. Okay, adulterated goods are nothing but adding something inferior to the product being sold. For the purpose of product being sold, okay, some adulterated goods will be added to that. Likewise, as I said before, spurious goods also means selling something of little value. Even though instead of the real product we are going to sell, we are selling something of little value. Okay, so likewise, substandard goods, like selling of goods which is not conformed to prescribed quality standard, it is also a unfair product. Okay, likewise, selling of duplicate goods. Okay, uh, or else use of false weight and measures. Okay, leading to underweight and creating scarcity of goods. Why? Because in order to raise the prices. Okay, in order to increase the prices. Okay, likewise, charging more than the maximum retail price, MRP price. Okay, even though fixed for the product. Supplying of defective goods. So all these comes under the unfair trade practices. Okay, so this is about the concept of unfair trade practices, and in the next session we'll study about the machinery for settlement of grievances, like we have consumer protection councils and district level, state level, national level commissions also there to protect these consumers. Okay, so we will study in next class those aspects.